Hello warriors, it's Bebe here once again with another story time-ish, okay? I keep saying story time-ish because I feel like I'm not doing it the way story time really should be. But hey, this is just basically Bebe Corner, if you will, where I just get to open up my life a little bit more so that I can share with you the things that I know about, abuse, about, abuse dynamics, relationships, toxic relationships and things like that. And like I always say, it's important that we leave all the research, all the jargon, all the languaging alone and just get right down to the nitty gritty of what the gist is really. And so, once again, I'm happy to be able to do this. Trust me when I say that this is very much healing for me. So I don't feel any qualms about, being transparent on here on this channel. And with that, I certainly encourage you all to please, 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 please engage with the content, leave your comments, make video suggestions. I'm happy to do it. Like, share, subscribe, because this information is really, really important. And there's so many people that need to have access to it. So please help push this video out and just make sure it gets into the right hands. And so with all of that being said, today's topic, as you can already see from the title, is friends who abandon you when times get hard. Now, I know that this is a topic that I'm sure we all have some story or the other as to, feeling like you knew someone, feeling like, someone had your back, and then we get right down to it and we are seriously disappointed. Sometimes even more than disappointment, sometimes even actively harmed by someone who used to be close to us. These are the kinds of conversations that we certainly need to have. And so I had so much fun in our last story time-ish where I had my sister on here asking me questions. And I think I prefer that vibe. I think it helps me stay on track. It helps me, really make it feel like we're gisting here. So we brought her back. So I'm going to have her say hello to you guys.
Hi, warriors. Toro here off camera, asking questions, extracting the tea.
Of course, of course. So guys, let's get into it. I think one of the biggest surprises for me when my life blew up the way that it did was that, I think naively, I think I should say naively, because I know how I would have reacted if I was on the other foot and the same thing had happened to someone that was close to me. But like when I had to escape, being in survival mode like that, being heavily abused, even post leaving the relationship, resources are being expended just trying to get us through the fight, time is being spent, just trying to get through. So I knew I needed community. And I'm so glad that first and foremost, I had that in my family. Now I know that that's not something that many warriors like myself can even say, because oftentimes abusers do a very, very good job of alienating you from your family. Some of you may not have spoken to your family in a very long time, or your relationship is kind of wonky now, or even worse, your family even took your abuser's side. Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine it. But for me, I was lucky. I was so blessed in the fact that my family stood behind me. Kankpe, as they say in Nigeria. So thank God I didn't even have to deal with any disappointment in that area, right? But I had also just expected that my friends, people who were, nearest and dearest to me, even up until the very point of my escape, because like I said, I literally just had a baby. So even people that, we had seemingly been on good terms. Like I could not understand the switch in behavior, the switch in energy. And then now when it feels like I really, really need you and I can't find you, I don't know where you are. That was tough. That was hard. It was one of the traumas again that I had to process and work through to just imagine that someone that I had known for 10 years, 15 years, I mention all the time that I'm an introvert. I don't really have too many new friends. So the people that I know I've known for decades, right? To now have to be mourning the ending of those relationships too. Oh gosh, that was tough. That was really, really tough. And so that's certainly what I want to kind of have my sister walk me through so that I can share with you some of the insights that I gleaned from that and even some of the emotion, if I can even bring that up here too as well. So that's what we're going to start with. So I'm just going to hand over to my sister now to ask the very first question.
Okay, so you had this huge life-changing, life-obliterating event happen to you, and you found yourself as a friend in need. And so you're looking for your friends indeed to show up for you. But it seems like you didn't get support from places that you expected, and then support might have showed up for you from places that you didn't expect. So I'll kind of start from the other side of things, which is who showed up for you that you didn't expect to?
Oh my God. I think I have to start this. I can't start this part without starting with this person. So for those of you who've listened to AW, I believe this is on episode 1 or 2. I'm not sure, but I'll put it in the link in the description so that you can go listen. So, when I was in the thick of it, pieces were being moved around me, I felt like, something was about to happen. I didn't know what, but I knew something was about to happen. And I was very scared for my life. I was very scared for my children. I didn't know what to do. And then ultimately, my ex's father then threatened me that he was going to take my children away from me if I were to divorce my ex. Hearing that kind of thing, like the terror, the fear, on one hand, at first I felt like the only person I was really in battle with was my ex because I knew how he was, right? So I felt like, okay, leaving this marriage, this guy is going to make things very, very terrible for me. But the shock to believe that his family was going to be a contender in this whole thing as well, I was blindsided because again, like we never had that kind of interaction. These are people that know this person very well. They've been witnesses to the abuse. They knew how I was being treated. They knew how I was being maltreated. So I just wrongly assumed that, when the marriage does break down, they shall understand that, okay, really and truly, you have tried kind of thing. Okay, the marriage cannot continue, no problem. Let everybody shall just go their separate ways. I was not expecting the backlash, the anger, the hot pursuit that I got from these people in trying to destroy me and take me down and malign me and all of that. So hearing those threats from my supposed father-in-law at the time he set alarm bells were ringing, but I didn't know how to act. Bottom line, I reached out to somebody. I knew that I couldn't reach out to anybody that was known to my ex or to anybody that was connected to us so I had to dig deep into you go deep into your is it black book? What do they call it? I had to go deep. In fact, the only reason why I even thought of this person is because the person had called me to tell me some random issue. The person called me, I picked up the call, we wrapped up our conversation and I said, hey, I called the person back. And I just gave them a very high level, quick summary of what things were looking like and what I needed help with. And this person, the first thing she said to me was, I'm proud of you. Guys, that was the last push I needed to do what I did. Because I was terrified. I didn't know how I was going to escape, how I was going to leave the country, how I was going to save my life, how I was going to keep my children. I didn't know. But hearing that, I'm proud of you. Oh God, that gave me the ginger. And the next thing she said is, don't worry, we go runner. the thing is, because I know that this person doesn't really know me. If they had said, Omo, this your life sounds crazy, oh, I don't think I want to get involved kind of thing. That would have been the natural response. And I would have understood, because I know, like, this, everything I've just told you now sounds so crazy. But hearing those words, gosh, I was moved. I could not believe it. And I was just, it's what gave me the strength to carry it through. So that's one person. The next group of people I certainly want to acknowledge are people that they heard what happened. They don't even really know me, but they were doing everything possible to track me down. When my GoFundMe came up, like, I cannot, the names that appear on on the back end of my GoFundMe, I do not know most of these people. That was the thing that shocked me there. There were certain names that I expected to see that I never saw, even till now. I never saw. Then there are names that I could not believe the generosity. I'm feeling shy. There was some guy that I went on a date with sometime when we were in college, guys. I'm so shy. Jesus. So I saw this guy donated to my GoFundMe, and it was a scary amount. Hey God. At first I was feeling embarrassed that child. This one that I did not agree for. See how my life has now casted now. I'm sure in his mind is like, hey, you see now, when I was toasting you, I did not answer me. You see now, has it not casted? So at first I was just like, child, see my life. But very quickly, I was just overwhelmed with the kindness. I was just like, and this is a guy, right now, I have serious distrust for guys. I don't send them and they should not even look at me kind of vibe. But like, for him, I could not believe that he did that he was moved to do that. And even when I messaged him, I was just like, hey, I didn't have his number actually. It was on social media, and the guy was just like, like, your life, like, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. That's somebody that I was not expecting at all, really, to show up for me. Then the next group of people again are people that, like, especially when the podcast launched, like, the people that, like, were listening. People that, they went through the whole thing. They were blowing up my DMs, messaging me, giving their analysis, giving their feedback, abusing the guys. And these people, we're not even close, but it's like we had just become such a community just from the Authenticity Warrior podcast. Like, it's like, because I've opened my life like that, it's like they knew me and we were just so comfortable. It felt like we were old friends. Like, I can't tell you just how therapeutic that was for me. Like, the way people showed up, like, I really cannot speak enough how pleasant it was, how grateful I still am for all of that, and how healing it was for me. So much so that it helped me. It almost made me forget the people that were glaringly absent, silent, or straight up just missing in action.
I guess that's a good way to segue into the next question, which is, who were you expecting to show up for you, or who did you expect to show up for you that didn't? Like, there was a vacuum where you expected them to be.
Mm-hmm. I think in answering this question, I think there really are like two groups. Like, it's two groups that come into mind. So the first group of people are, and the way I'm saying people as if they're 100 really is just like a couple people. But if I were to categorize them into two, I'll say there are those that, for whatever reason, just didn't show up. I can't tell you why. I can't tell you. I don't know why they didn't show up, honestly. In my head, I'm choosing to just believe that maybe their life got in the way. They're also going through their own shit, so they were missing in action. But I'm inclined to give them that pass. But on the other hand, what I went through, till now, I'm still going through it. Those of you, most of you are aware that, the legal proceedings are still going on in Nigeria. Everything has been held up now because of the elections, because of the changeover of power, everything. So till now, I'm going through parental alienation. I haven't seen or heard from my children. I don't have access to them. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know anything. I had made multiple requests. I want to speak to my children every day. I want to have a bedtime routine with them. Everything denied. I don't know what's going on with my children. So it's not like what I'm going through was just one event that done and dusted that it's possible for someone to miss, I'm going through it right now. And till now, I've still not really heard from some of these people. There was one person in particular that at first, through the whole escape, through everything, because we were so close, I've known this person from primary school, it's hard because you really do, I really care about these people. So when it now even comes to making the hard decisions of closing up a relationship that you yourself don't want to close, it's tough. It feels like unfinished business. It hurts. For whatever reason, I just don't know. So
this particular individual was initially present?
Initially, and then they just fell off.
Left you high and dry while...
Yeah, and at some point I was trying to reach the person and I just couldn't reach. I would call, and then I got the message. I stopped calling, and then they too just, in the end, I had to do the difficult thing. This was last year, really, it was my birthday. They sent some message. It felt like an obligatory message that they sent. It felt very distant, very, which was unusual for our relationship. And immediately I decided, because I was still in the point where I'm fully in survival mode. I don't have time for any half-assedness. I don't. So I said thank you, and immediately I just sent a closing message. I can't have this kind of relationship. I can't. As much as I love you, my life cannot accommodate this kind of lackluster friendship where I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know. So I had to close that out, and that was very painful for me. Till now, I still wonder, did I make the right decision? It's hurtful. It really, really hurts. So I would say that some of the other relationships as well kind of fall within that category. This one I just described was the most painful one for me, but there are some other friendships that follow that path where there was just an inability to show up, and I had to make the call to end the relationship. Not because I stopped caring about them, not because I stopped loving them, not because I wish them harm, not because I don't have any ill feelings towards them, but I just knew within my spirit that my life is going a certain way, and it seems this person isn't able to come along with me. And that's just a simple fact. The other group of people that I would describe, which really and truly, I think it was just one or two, maybe even really just one, of someone that I would consider was like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I was shocked when it seemed like they were dancing on my grave when my life kind of blew up. It was it was, what's that word? Is it discombobulating? I couldn't believe it. But my life was already so crazy. There's so many things I already could not believe that I just added this one there too. Okay, it's part, because if, let's say, things were going all right and this kind of event happened, I would have been floored, like completely floored. It was shocking to me to see. It was almost as if this person had been waiting for something, for such a time as this to happen so that they could show their hand. And this is someone that I'd known. I could not believe how they aligned with my abuser. That was just what was crazy to me, because I'm just like, if you knew me the way I have been showing myself to you all this while, there is absolutely no way you can ever come to this conclusion unless and only unless you have actually never loved me. You have never cared about me. You've probably hated me all this while, and we're only staying close so that you could harm me when the time came. And then now the time finally came, and then you did it.
So this was a betrayal.
I don't even really want to say it was a betrayal, because to be honest, my spirit in the last couple of years had been feeling uncomfortable with the relationship. I couldn't put my finger on it. I just couldn't put my finger on it. I wasn't sure. So I was already feeling a bit distant. More so, again, being in an abusive relationship, like, you really hunker down on yourself. So the relationship itself had not even really been thriving, So it was already kind of almost dying a natural death, which I was okay with. But it felt like the person was actively resuscitating it. Like, so sometimes, like, they would restart the friendship, and then I'll be forced to restart it too, but then it will go back. So it was like a back and forth, and I was getting tired of the back and forth. And I really did want the relationship to just come to its own natural conclusion, but the person wasn't letting it. So it's now in retrospect that this whole thing is making sense. Is that the reason why the person wasn't letting the relationship come to a natural conclusion is because, like, they hadn't done what it is the relationship was for in the first place. Like, the harm was always meant to come up. I was always meant to be harmed in this relationship, but the opportunity hadn't presented itself. And so that's why the relationship didn't close at the time when I'd already started to feel uncomfortable. But in the end, I don't feel betrayed, because, like, again, I tell you guys, listen to Dr. Ramani on YouTube. These are the kinds of things where I've already learned that in this season of my life, this is the time to clear house. Anybody, not what, if it doesn't serve you, get it out of there. So for me, I was more than happy to already throw the relationship away and be like, hey, I knew something was, I knew that this thing was not making sense. There was something that was off, and now finally I've seen it. Thank you for showing it to me. Now I can go on my merry way and live my best life the way I've been wanting to live it without you. So thank you. So without being petty here, because again, honestly, I don't wish the person harm. I don't wish anybody harm. I really don't care about what happens or doesn't happen with them. Like, for me, I'm moving on with my life. But these kinds of things is like, you get shocked because you think it's only in movies that these kinds of things happen, but no, like, it can happen in your life and you'll be so shocked. So yeah, I think I've appropriately described the categories of people that I've had to let go and just move on with my life without them, or maybe even if not without them, but like maybe in a lesser or in a different kind of, like, it looks different. We're not the way we used to be. Now it's different, because how can you really move on? Like, situations like mine, they're too heavy to just move on from when it feels like somebody didn't quite get you or wasn't quite there. There's no how, even if there are no ill feelings, the relationship will always look different.
That last example that you gave, you say that you weren't particularly surprised or you didn't exactly feel betrayed by it because there were signs along the way that pointed to that sort of behavior. That being said, was there anyone or any groups of people that you do feel that you were surprised or blindsided by either their active behavior or their absence, or were there any actual betrayals in this whole situation?
I think, and thank you for guiding me, because this is something that I actually really do want to talk about. If you've listened to my podcast and you've also listened to some of the episodes that we've released so far, you hear that I say that I was a church girl. I was a church girl. I grew up in the church. You know, I became even more religious when I got into college from like first year, or not that, third year or fourth year. I didn't even enjoy college at all because I was always in church. Like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, sometimes, and my church was very active then. Like we were always having activities, events, and I was always there. I served in the church for about 8 full years. So all through college, all through law school, I was there. I was fully committed. I was there. Like I was visible. People knew that, okay, this girl, she's serving the Lord. That's how I was. And again, it helps me even understand that when things are going well, when it's weddings, bridal shower, baby shower, this one, that one, the people that will show up there that you do not even invite, kind of thing, like, you know, when it's something good, there are all sorts of people that are clamoring to be in your life, to be a part of the event, to get in there for whatever reason. But when this thing happened to me, I was completely flabbergasted by the deafening silence from my quote unquote church family, if you will, that I had spent all these years being a part of. Now, this is no shade, like this is no, like, oh, I'm calling you all out kind of thing, because honestly, I don't care for it. Like I kind of already pulled away in terms of just seeing what my time in that space was. Like me for myself, I know exactly what it was that was happening to me. So I don't even need to belabor that point. I don't need to, like, I don't feel a way about like the church or the people there or whatever. But it just opened up my eyes again that like you've spent all this time being fully committed to something, mining away. And you weren't doing it for them, you were doing it for God, you were doing it for the cause. But then it was hurtful that to see that when you're seemingly in harm's way, or you've seemingly been hurt, to not even hear that anybody's even looking for you. Like, you know, my GoFundMe, again, I have to bring that shit up. Like, I thought I would see at least the people that I served with there for 8 years. I thought I would see, but I had to take my L and be going in peace. You know, I thought that I would get a call at least from my HOD, or like, you know, even the pastors. Like, none of that. Like, it was sad. And, you know, the funny thing is, I won't even be surprised if they are using me to preach in this. I won't be surprised if they're using me to preach in the church, that you see, when we tell you this and that. Like, so it's that kind of thing where I had been feeling very unsafe to be my full self in that space, and I'd spent all this time bending to the will of the church, to how they said this is how to be a woman. This is how you, the Proverbs 31 woman. This is how you serve the Lord. You know, I had been cutting away, chipping away parts of myself, because all this while I've been receiving all this messaging that no, that being my true authentic self was not it. And so it was hurtful for me to do everything doable to be who I'd been groomed to be. I enter into a crazy situation because of this. And then on the back of it to now then be abandoned seemingly to my own mess.
So you mean not a peep, not a scent
Nope.
from this community?
I mean, if anybody wants to say, oh, because my number changed, I'm sorry. Me, I feel like if you're looking for somebody, you will find, if you're looking for something, you will find it. I can tell you, I don't believe I was even looked for, really. So yeah, not a peep, not a cent, not a dollar, not a anything, so it's one of those things that, again, I've had to chalk up as things that I'm just clearing out of my life. When I was in that space, I got a lot from it. In the time that I needed to be there, I got what I needed to get. It no longer serves me. I've moved on. It seems they too have moved on. And so now that things happened in my life, I guess they felt there was really no need to really check in or double back, or, they felt like, look, we've all moved on kind of vibe. And I hear you loud and clear. I take the messaging and I agree. We've moved on. So no problem.
Yeah, it's all very illuminating. And there's nothing like being in a down bad situation that will bring you clarity about yourself, about your acquaintances and friends, about who you are in relationship and fellowship with, and about what needs to change, whether along the lines that I've questioned you, the folks who you expect to show up that don't, the ones who you didn't expect to that do, the ones who it now becomes clear, the filter, it filters the people out, the ones where it becomes clear that they're doing the bare minimum. People who, they're doing the barest of minimum just to maintain, and it's like, yeah, just to maintain access. And it's like, or you even have the voyeurs, the ones who are just using you like TV, who just want to watch and see what's going on there. So yeah, there's nothing like a life shakeup, that will will shake up your relationships as well. And I think that's just part of life, and part of growing. So that being said, do you have any closing comments? Do you have any, advice? And what has been your biggest takeaways, from this when it comes to your personal relationships?
I think for me, I'm an introvert. It seems I'll always be one. Who even knows if the introversion is from trauma in childhood? Who even knows? So, but like, I know I am an introvert, but I can, like, speaking to a camera, I can do this, having conversation with people, like, people are just like, oh my God, people are shocked by my energy, right? But because I am introverted, so it's difficult for me to meet people, to, forming new friendships now. Like, my gosh, that's tough. So honestly, I took a huge blow with the relationships I've had to let go. Like, how many do I now have left? How many really, So, it's tough for me to even really say, in terms of even advising you guys or even sharing with you guys. All I can tell you is this. The podcast is called Authenticity Warrior for a reason. Authenticity. That is all I'm doing with my life now. I'm trying to be the most real, the most honest, to show up as my full self. And hopefully as I do that, the people who are meant for me will gravitate towards me. The people who are uncomfortable with that would find a way to just naturally be going on their own. and hopefully my spirit too will be repelling them from my life, you know. So that is all I can really do. It is important to me to live my life loudly, which is why I'm sure I probably get into oversharing. For those of you that follow me on social media, you know my stories is where it's at. Like, I am nonsense on there. I am just nonsense, but like, I don't care, because like, for me, I just have to live as loudly, my full self, my authentic self, bring it to the forefront. So that's me. I can only be me. And I just hope and pray for myself that I would have some relationships that are life affirming, that are pushing me more into really, really entering into that authentic space of being myself. And I also pray that I have the discernment as well to move myself out of spaces that want to dull that light or shut it out or snuff it out completely. You know, I'm grateful for the life experience that I have, because I really do think I'm wiser now. I feel like my third eye is wide open, like spread eagle wide. So, I'm just going to trust myself and also trust in the universe to catch me, if you will. And of course, trust in God, because I am a person of faith too as well. So, I think that is what I would advise you to do too as well. Like, don't run from the uncomfortable feelings. If energy is weird, people are making you uncomfortable, investigate that. Don't just like close your eyes to it and just want it to go away. Investigate it, because you literally could save your life. You literally could save yourself from a lot more heartbreak, you know, closing doors sooner, or moving on at the right time. I can't stress this enough, is certainly important, so that you don't overstay your welcome and then go and see where you're not supposed to see there. Go and chop shaggy, you're not supposed to chop there. You get. So I think that's the advice that I would give. Alright guys, so thank you so much for listening. I'm glad that I got to, again, open up my life to you guys. Please feel free to like, to share, to subscribe. Let this content go outside, or let people see, like, you know, we're working so hard on this. We're creating quality content. We're putting ourselves out there. Like, this thing is not easy. This is something that we've committed ourselves to for the summer. And we're so excited, and we really do hope that you come along with us for the ride. So let's keep going. Bye guys.
Bye.